All right, today I'm going to show leg work. Mostly it's going to be squats. We're going to have some leg lifts and stuff like that mixed in between in here. We're going to wrap up with just a few quick weight exercises using my arms so that you can see just sort of the balance challenges I have, kind of where the weight of my body is, and then that extreme bend that I tend to have in my knees. With my knees, it's funny. They're either like bent, kind of like you see here, that is essentially my straight, or they're like lock-kneed. So here I am holding on. This is no weights at all. I like that little block in the middle there because my knees just, they go straight together when I'm doing squats. You'll see me adjust my hands. I was trying to be conscious of, one of the viewers commented about questioning, like how much weight are you putting in your hands when you're doing a deep squat? So I thought I'd give an impression. So here's me finally feeling comfortable to really lift my hands up and not have balance support. And you can see that's pretty much it for how I can bend. Oh, and here a dog had gotten loose. So I'm calling out to my husband and we're gonna see it in a second. I just kind of kept this in there because I thought it was funny, and we're gonna see the dog in that left-hand corner of the window in... No, maybe we missed it. All right, I just thought it was like another way to see me move, and obviously it shows off my wedgie, so who doesn't want to see that? All right, so we close the door. We're gonna get back to it. Let's put that block back between my knees. And I'm just gonna continue on with squatting to the best of my ability without touching anything. So you can see there, I am trying to do a hip thrust when I come up. I don't think you can really see that, but you definitely see that wobble as I come up to the top with that shift in weight, change in balance, having to actually straighten out my knees, which like to be at kind of like a permanent gentle bend in things. So I do have to use those arms as like a counterbalance. It's nice having that wall there to reach out to just if I need it. Partially it's just a safety net. Knowing that I've got something there to grab onto makes me more confident in doing a squat. Without having it there, I don't know what I would do. So we're going back to grabbing because I want to be able to get into doing like a deeper squat. What you see me doing here is once we're on that upward motion, I am releasing my hands. And again, you probably can't see it, but in my eyes, I am exploding up out of that squat into a hip thrust. And then just returning to that bar for balance on my way down. And sometimes balance to catch myself on the way up, like you see there. Just that forward momentum of coming up out of the squat can be a bit much. So I'm transitioning now into doing calf raises. And I'm just leaving the blocks in between me because again, even with a calf raise, like my legs kind of go together. And I was just sort of thinking, maybe for like the health of form and whatnot, it's good to test it out with them, with my knees being separated. I think it definitely added a balance challenge because my body is used to those knees being able to just like knock together. So here I am going to grab my weights. Typically when I've been training with a weight, when I do this, I've got my dumbbell, those are 5-pound dumbbells, and I would take it in my hand and then just take that hand and just kind of cross it over my chest. So if I've got it in my right hand, I would cross that hand over my chest to put the weight over my left shoulder, kind of with this idea that like, it's balancing out where the weight is. So that I could still have a single hand on that half wall that you see there. But one of the things that I noticed is like I would kind of slant one way or the other. I think typically if I had the weight over on my left shoulder, I might sort of slant over to my left. I'm going to show it at the end of my weighted squats. I think I take my backpack off and just kind of face the camera so you can see what I mean with regarding to sort of that lean, that slant that happens. So what's happening right now, I've got those weights in the back. I think it's just the one right now. I'll add another one in a minute. Here we go for that other one. So that'll be 10 pounds on my back. And definitely when I'm doing the weighted, I am fully hands-on with that half wall for support. So that's both balance. And then that aspect of like being able to get that low, being able to get up from being that low. So there's definitely a lot of support that I'm using with that wall, but I know that I'm getting a bigger, it's doing more. Even with that support, I am challenging my leg muscles more than those, like 1/3 or 1/4 squats that I do when I'm not using anything for balance. And so I'm just trying to focus on getting as low as I can, trying to get that 90 degree in there. And I do look down when I'm doing this. With that added weight, it's easy for me to do that slant side to side, even when I've got the weight distributed nicely. So here I am, I'm gonna show you what's happening and why I like to look at my knees as opposed to kind of looking straight ahead or something, because even with that block, my hips are kind of getting a little bit wonky when I go down, which is going to throw things out of alignment there. So if I look, I'm able to really focus on making sure, don't let your knees, don't let anything sway side to side. So block and eyes on that front. All right, so here I am transitioning to, these are kicks. This is me kicking. You can see there's not a lot of range of motion on that forward and back. That control of like having my knee straight or anything, it's just kind of not really, I don't know, not really there. So I'm going to twist around so you can see my wedgie and see what it looks like with my other leg, if you can kind of get that. Things just sort of flop. It's not a super controlled type of kick. From these uncontrolled kicks, I am going to end up transitioning into doing controlled lifts. But before that, here's that side to side type of action. And you can just see basically that lower foot, it's just getting flung around. My ankles are the weakest part of my body. So you'll just kind of see feet flopping around. Toes are very weak as well. This is me doing, those are my high knees. And that's my butt kick. All right, so here is a controlled leg lift to the front. I will say this is like at the end of a workout. I'd done 30 minutes of cardio on my elliptical. I had gone through this entire thing that I'm showing you. And by this point, I was like, this is stupid. I'm completely redoing my entire workout. Let me just give some highlights. So that's that controlled side leg lift there. And that is actually a leg extension to the back. Kind of don't see that much of a difference between that and the butt kick. Both, it just looks, when I do a butt kick, I just think it looks like I'm a dog just trying to like scrape some dirt to cover up poop. That just looks like a more controlled version of a dog covering up its poop. Now, what is happening here? Because you'll never guess it, I think, by looking at it. That is a leg lift. So I'm doing a leg lift and I am extending my knee out to the side and then as far back as possible. And I am lowering that foot down so that I can lift my leg up again and sweep in the other direction. So the movement itself, very minimal, but big benefit. Okay, so what's this here? This is a standing fire hydrant. So instead of being on hands and knees on the ground, I just stand and do it. Now, this is a variation of things that I've got here. This is partially like a Pilates move where you kind of like, you have your leg up and then you angle it out a little bit and then you do some side kicks. So I'm just trying to hit another portion of my hip muscles there. It is a good combination. I know it looks odd on that front, but it's a nice way to add some hip movement and just try to hit some muscles that I might not normally hit. All right, so from here, I'm transitioning into hand weights. Hand weights are something, the moves that you see, I have more strength in my arms. There's nothing wrong with my arms. I'm actually quite strong in my upper body. But when I do stuff like this with my dumbbells, again, they're just 5 pounds, it's less about building upper body strength. That's a portion of it. However, the big thing that I'm focusing on is my balance. So we can see here, I've got that natural bend to my knees that I just tend to keep. I'm also slanted a bit forward. It's challenging for me to kind of control that weight and keep my hips. And yeah, it's interesting with that door and that window because you can definitely sort of see me slant forward as we get more space between that window and the door. You can see it right behind my head and neck when I'm coming forward. So there's definitely some sway happening here. That sway is balance related. It's not from like jerking that weight upward. It's inability to control my body and stay in that upright position. All right, so from here we are transitioning to, I don't know what these are called. It's not like a shoulder press, shoulder raise. I could work on my form there. These are a little bit easier than the, what was I doing? The bicep curls. Kind of whipped through those. So here, arm extensions. This is definitely harder. Now notice my knees on that one. The more I'm working my balance, the tighter those knees are getting. It's just kind of like a comfort position. It's also, I'm working those adductor muscles to maintain my balance for things. So with those being clenched, my knees are just going straight together. It doesn't matter where my feet are. All right, and that is the end. Thanks for watching.